Hi everyone, thank you guys so much for signing up for the 5-day start writing challenge. I realized that some of you might not know me very well, and I wanted to introduce myself real fast and talk a little bit about what we might be what we might be working on. So I am Marla Holt. I am an independent romance author. My 7th book comes out in about 4 hours from me recording this video, September 14th. So it's going to be the third in a series, the final book in a series, and I'm really excited for it to go live. And this is just a little bit sad that that series is ending, but I learned a lot working on it and learned some of my new limits. And I'm really, really excited to see that go out into the world. But I tend to write sexy, steamy romances. That's kind of my MO. I like to turn tropes on their heads a little bit. So, like, this series it would be considered a rock star romance series because the first book is about a pop star, but in rock star romance, the trope is usually that it's the famous guy, and he's usually got like angsty issues and drug problems, or like there's angsty stuff going on. In my series, it's the woman who's the famous rock star and the hometown hero who has been pining after her for years and years. Anyway, so I tend to turn tropes on their head like that fairly often, and do things just maybe slightly differently than you're going to find in the mainstream versions of those tropes, but not always. Anyway, that's sort of who I am and what I do. I have a haunted house romance book coming out next month. That's pretty exciting. I can't wait for that one. That one was so much fun to work on, and it just came out so naturally, and the characters are so fantastic. Anyway, one of the things I haven't really addressed with the 5-day challenge, and you should be getting the blog posts emailed to you, so you don't have to go out and find them, that sort of help you dive a little bit deeper into the things that are on the cheat sheet if you need it. If not, that's fine too. If you're just ready to get writing, like, awesome. I love it. If you're wanting to start writing, but you're wanting to be like, well, what do I write starting on September 21st? Like, I know that we're writing starting on the 21st, but you don't know what to write. I am going to tell you that it doesn't matter. You can write anything. Honestly, I think if you're here, you probably have something in mind that you've wanted to start writing for a really long time, and I'm going to tell you now is the time. Let's work on that. And if you don't know how to start that, my advice is to just start. And I know that's like sounds really counterintuitive and a little like, okay, go sort of advice, but the whole idea behind this approach is to take away the barriers that you've been putting in front of yourself and just actually sit down and do it. So if you don't know where to start, think about the characters that you have in mind, or even just the story setting that you have in mind, and just sit down and start describing it. You don't have to, like, the words that you write during the 5-day challenge, they don't have to even ever be a part of your novel. They can be, and if they are, that's fantastic. It's amazing. The whole idea is just to sit down and get you started, get you comfortable in a writing space and in a writing frame of mind, so that you're in the future my oven's up to temp. I'm roasting pumpkin seeds because I also live in the country and have a giant garden, and I'm starting to get pumpkins because it's fall and it's exciting. Anyway, I'll pop those in a minute. I don't know if you couldn't hear my oven beep, then more power to you. But the whole idea is just to get you comfortable with the idea of writing and or writing regularly. If you, I know that there might be some people here who have written a little bit but don't really have the daily practice that they want to have, or don't really have they start and stop and hit a lot of roadblocks. And so this is for you too. You don't have to be a brand new writer. However, I'm trying to make this as inclusive and brand new writer friendly as possible, because I know that there are so many people, I've talked to so many people who like, they want to write, but they're like, time, or I just don't know how to start, or I don't know how to describe this thing. And I get stuck, I get stuck up on this turn of phrase, and I totally get that. Like, the things that get me stuck the most quickly are usually like trying to describe a facial expression, or or how a person moved across the room. And those things, especially in your first draft, I would just say, like, don't let those trip you up. What you need to do is just like, he moved across the room, and then you can go back and change it later, because that's my other favorite thing is you're able to revise everything. Nothing has to stay the way it is you wrote it the first time. So don't worry if you hate it. You can change it later. And I know that's meant to take pressure off of you in the moment. So when you're sitting down to write and you don't know how to do it, the whole idea is that you're taking pressure off of yourself in the moment so that you can move on and actually just get the story out, and then you can go back and revise. And I know sometimes the idea of revision can also be scary and hard, but it doesn't have to be. And I'm here to help you through that too. So right now we're going to concentrate on learning how writing works for you. And if you have any questions, just come back and let me know. You can respond to this. You've got my email. DMs on Instagram always work. But this right now, it's just about thinking about what it is you've always wanted to write, and figuring out how, and just sitting down and start digging into it in some way, shape, or form, whether you're describing a setting or you're describing a person and what they're doing. The book that I am writing right now, I think I wrote the first chapter three or four times before I found a sticking place where I kind of want to make things start. And like, I think the first time I just was describing the character, and I was describing her work habits and her working environment, and like where her money was going and why she was having to work so much. And none of that needed to be in the final story at the length it was, but it was me telling myself so that I knew where that information would fit as I crafted the story around it. And so when I am landing in these sort of final versions that I'm trying to work on right now, I know what to take out, what to leave in, and what needs to go into other places of the story. And if that sounds advanced, it's because it is, and you don't need to worry about it yet. We're just thinking about making sure that we know our characters, and making sure we know that our setting, and writing it down. And it doesn't have to be in narrative form. We're just sitting down and writing to ourselves about our story. That is the easiest way, I think, to approach a first draft, is to take the pressure off, and to not think that everything you write has to be a masterpiece immediately, because I know that trips a lot of people up, is like trying to make everything good immediately. And I have to tell you that shitty first drafts are a very common thing. Almost every writer, no writer publishes. Well, some writers do, some authors do, and I would recommend not, because it's obvious when you do. Authors who publish their first drafts versus authors who revise, there's a huge quality difference. So just to keep that in mind. Anyway. Yeah, and I think that's all I have to say at the moment. So if you have any more questions about sort of how to start or where to start, let me know, and maybe we could talk and do another video, or we do a blog post or something, because this is my first time doing it too. So thank you guys so much, and I am so excited to get to know you a little bit better and start off on this journey starting on the 21st. And yeah, that's about all I've got. So I will see you soon.